Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, saving money, skipping the expensive lattes, working extra hours, but your bank account barely moves? It's frustrating. It feels like the finish line is 1,000 miles away and you're just walking. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Charlie Munger famously said that the first $100,000 is the hardest milestone to hit. And he was right, because building that first 100,000 takes more than discipline. It takes patience, consistency, and the ability to keep going even when the results feel invisible. But here's the good news. Once you cross that line, everything starts to change. Your second 100,000 can come faster, then the third faster still, because at some point, the game stops being only about your effort and starts being about your money finally working for you. In this video, I'll show you why building your first 100,000 feels so slow right now, the invisible math that's actually working in your favor, and how to reach that milestone faster. And once you understand this, you'll stop feeling stuck and start seeing real progress. The reason the first 100,000 feels so hard is simple. At the beginning, you are doing almost all of the work. You are the engine. You are the one earning the money, saving the money, cutting expenses, saying no to things, and trying to stay motivated long enough to keep going. Your investments are still too small to create meaningful momentum on their own. Think about it like this. If you have $5,000 invested and you earn a 10% return, that's $500. And yes, $500 is good, but it's not life-changing. You could earn that same $500 by picking up extra shifts, doing freelance work, or working a weekend job. That's why this stage feels so discouraging, because your money isn't doing the heavy lifting yet. You are. And this is exactly where most people quit, not because the strategy is wrong, but because the progress feels too small to be exciting. They say, I'll start investing when I have more money, but that mindset keeps them stuck, because investing is not something you do after you become wealthy. Investing is one of the ways you become wealthy. It's like building a fire. At first, you have to gather the wood, stack it carefully, and protect the flame. You don't wait for the fire to get hot before you add the wood. You add the wood first so the fire has a chance to grow. That is exactly how wealth building works. The beginning is slow. The beginning is repetitive, and the beginning requires faith before it gives you visible proof. But while the dollar amounts may look small, something important is happening. You are building the habit. You are becoming the kind of person who saves, the kind of person who invests, the kind of person who chooses long-term freedom over short-term comfort. And that identity shift changes everything. Now here's where it gets interesting. Once you hit $100,000, the math starts to feel real. Let's use that same 10% example. If you earn a 10% return on $100,000, that's $10,000 in a year. $10,000. Now we are talking about real movement. For many people, that's a meaningful chunk of annual income. That could cover months of living expenses. That could supercharge your savings. That could create real breathing room. And this is where the snowball finally feels like a snowball, because now progress becomes visible. You save money, your investments grow, and for the first time, it feels like your money is standing beside you instead of behind you. That emotional shift matters a lot, because once people can actually see progress, they become more motivated to keep going. Saving no longer feels like punishment. It starts to feel like momentum. And it's not just about the numbers. It's about freedom. When you have $100,000 behind you, life feels different. You are not as fragile. You are not as desperate. You are not forced to make every decision from a place of fear. You have a financial floor. That means you can take opportunities other people have to pass up. You can take a commission-only role with more upside because you have a safety net. You can invest in a business idea because one setback won't destroy you. You can move on a real estate opportunity because you finally have some flexibility. And even if you stay on the exact same path, the pressure starts to ease. Because now compound growth is finally helping you. You are still contributing, yes, but you are no longer pushing the entire boulder uphill by yourself. Now the hill starts helping you. So, how do you reach that first 100,000 faster? If the first 100,000 is mostly built through your own contributions, then the strategy is clear. You need to increase what comes in, protect what stays, and avoid the mistakes that slow almost everyone down. Secret number 1, build your income engine. Most people focus only on cutting expenses. And yes, controlling your spending matters, but there is a limit to how much you can cut. There is much more upside in increasing what you earn. That might mean asking for a raise. It might mean changing jobs. It might mean learning a skill that pays more. It might mean freelancing, consulting, tutoring, driving weekends, or building a side business after work. The exact method matters less than the principle. You need extra cash flow. And when that extra cash flow comes in, do not let it disappear into random spending. Give it a purpose. Create a separate bucket in your mind. Call it your first 100,000 fund and treat that money like it doesn't exist for anything else. That is how you create acceleration. Secret number 2, master the penny habit. This does not mean living a miserable life, and it does not mean you can never enjoy your money. It means becoming intentional, because in the early stage, small leaks matter. That $100 dinner, that impulse purchase, that extra upgrade you didn't really need, that subscription you forgot about, each one feels small in the moment, but every dollar has an opportunity cost. That same $100 invested consistently can keep working for you year after year after year. And once you start seeing money that way, your behavior changes. You stop asking, can I afford this today? And you start asking, what is this costing my future self? That question alone can completely change your financial life. Secret number 3, avoid the big trap. And for many people, the big trap is the car payment, not transportation, the payment. A large monthly payment on a vehicle you don't truly need can quietly destroy your investing timeline, because it's not just the payment itself, it's the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, the depreciation, and the cash flow it steals every single month. A fancy car can delay your first $100,000 by years, and that cost is much bigger than it looks, because those lost years are also lost compounding years. That is why avoiding one major financial mistake can be just as powerful as making several smart decisions. Sometimes, wealth is built less by doing flashy things right and more by refusing to do expensive things wrong. The grind to your first 100,000 is a test of character. It asks you to stay disciplined when the rewards are small. It asks you to stay patient when progress feels slow. And it asks you to stay focused while the world keeps offering you ways to look rich instead of become rich. But here's the good news. It gets easier. Not overnight, not magically, but mathematically and emotionally, it gets easier. Once you reach that mark, compound interest starts carrying more of the load. Your habits still matter, your savings still matter, but now your money finally has enough size to start fighting for you, and that changes everything. So, if you feel discouraged right now, if your net worth feels too small, if you've been wondering whether all this effort is really worth it, keep going. Seriously, keep going, because the first 100,000 is not where the story ends. It's where the story begins. And once you get there, you may realize the hardest part was never the math. It was staying in the game long enough to let the math work. Don't forget to check the description below for all the links. Click, sign up, and start taking control of your finances today. They're completely free to sign up. If this video helped you feel a little more motivated, hit the like button and let me know in the comments, how close are you to your first 100,000?